Well, well, well. We're back in the drama, and I think it's time to teach this little tripping guy a thing or two. I mean, from the get-go, I was convinced he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but after watching his response video, I've realized it's even worse than I thought. Anyways, it seems like he took offense back when we talked about his brand. I mean the two hoodies he designed on Roblox a few years back. I thought that after being so critical and tough on everyone else's creations, he would at least have the intellectual honesty to admit that in hindsight, what he put out was crap and that he had moved on to something else. But apparently not. He had the audacity to claim that slapping a star on a hoodie was original. Yikes. No hard feelings though. It's a tie, 1-1. I said his brand was ass, he said my bootlegs were trash. Well, that's just opinions, but personally, when I put air heats in the cop or drop story on our French Insta, it gets an 80% cop from 50,000 people who followed the project and understood the concept. And guess what? The latest origami drop sold out like all the previous drops, unlike his brand where he sold 12 hoodies and disappeared. Men lie, numbers don't. But you know what's worse? His subscribers who watched his video when he was supposed to roast me came to my DMs asking for the link to buy the origami. In other words, I've already won. I've made him my bitch. He worked for me and it's not over. This delusional little fella acting tough behind his Walmart mic is going to face reality head on. So buckle up because it might hurt just a bit.
What is up, Drum Alert Nation? I'm your host.
New video. We absolutely had to respond to this tripping fraud, and we hope his meat writers will see it because already in his response, he dodged half the topics, and even where he did respond, he was completely off the mark. If it was someone else, I'd say he was being dishonest, but since it's tripping, well, it's probably just because he's very dumb. But we're going to address all this nonsense.
What could I have possibly said specifically about him or his bootleg sneaker designs? Well, taking one look at these things, I can almost think that he took it very personally and wanted to defend himself and his sneakers against my harsh opinions on bootleg sneakers.
His video starts off crooked. Apparently he's trying to project his insecurities onto me like I made a video because I want to defend my bootlegs. Apparently he wants to play psychologist. Let's do it. His backstory is that he got bullied at school, so he started buying fakes to look rich and be accepted by his classmates. That's why he's so sentimental about fake, and he shoves shit about fakes down our throats constantly. That's also probably why he keeps spamming videos defending kids who are getting bullied at school while wearing fakes. Apparently he's trying to become the superhero he wished he had during his victim days. That's your story, buddy, not ours. If you need help, go see a therapist.
I'm very sorry and I apologize for the inconvenience of me not giving up.
But if I am talking about you, I've literally already explained it in the first video. So no need to create an imaginary scenario. It's because you're the only content creator who openly made a video against bootlegs. It's a bit like when you attack every YouTuber who criticizes fakes. There's no need to play the victim and say, what could have I said about him? Another reason might be that we're looking for his clout. Well guys, we're the most watched sneaker channel in French-speaking countries. We have 3 times more subscribers than him, even though we're limited by the language. There are about 300 million French speakers in the world compared to 1.3 billion English speakers. And French speakers are much less interested in sneaker or streetwear culture than English speakers. So in essence, our French channel is like having 1 or 2 million subscribers in the States. If you check our French videos, we obviously get more views than him, even when we're talking about the same topics. Literally, in 3 videos about the junk panda, he gets fewer views than 1 of our videos. Even on our US channel, if you look at the most viewed videos, we also got around 300,000 views. If I just wanted clout, I would have told my French subscribers to follow our US channel, but instead I'm actually trying to build a new channel secretly. And of course, this is a voiceover, because my English accent is terrible. Well, maybe not as bad as your hoodies, but you see, unlike you, I have some respect for my audience.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
So let's get back to the basics. It's not personal, it's not clout chasing, it's just that you put yourself out there on the internet saying things that I consider completely absurd and wrong. I'm just grabbing you by the collar as you do with others. What's the matter? Don't like that feeling? Anyways, let's see what nonsense he's spewing this time.
Now tell me that isn't the biggest reach you've ever heard about in your entire life. You took two things that have minor similarities and tried to make it into one thing to sell your sneaker. It isn't that psychologically deep. It's an origami into a swoosh. That's all it needs to be, okay?
We won't dwell on that, but he's repeated this about 600 times in his 3 videos about bootlegs. He said, I'm an AI, but the dude has been spamming the same thing for a year. He sounds like ChatGPT. Like in all his bootleg videos, he'll say, it's not that deep, it's not that hard, anyone can do it. Or his favorite argument is to describe an object and then laugh afterwards, as if he said something profound. He sees a pair inspired by the Wild West, he'll say, it's just a gun. A pair that draws inspiration from childhood, retro 80s pairs, he'll say, it's just a flame. A pair that reflects the actual sneaker culture, illustrated by the metaphor of paper, he'll say, it's just an origami swoosh.
He put bullet holes on the holes on a toe box of an Air Jordan 1. Wow.
Describing an object mockingly doesn't make for valid arguments. We can do the same with literally anything. Guys, he just wrote air on the sole. Guys, he just put a swoosh upside down. Guys, he just added a zip tie. When you say that, I just want to tell you, okay, and then? Do you have anything more meaningful to offer, or is that the extent of your thinking? We won't ask too much of him, but I'd be curious to see how he describes his creations.
I made something original and didn't use a blueprint like all bootleg sneakers have to.
Okay, I'm having a hard time understanding this. I know there are a lot of crackheads in the streets over there. You guys in the States should be better at recognizing them than me. Is he one of them? This is pure mental pathology right there. How can he not realize that by sticking a star on a hoodie, he's literally using a blueprint? I mean, the Jordan 1 was created by Nike, we agree on that. But maybe he thinks hoodies grow on trees. I don't know, because apparently, if even the American Congress officially says pizza is a vegetable, I can't imagine what's going on in the mind of a numbnuts like Tripping. He doesn't realize that Champion created the hoodie in 1930, and he's using that same blueprint to slap a star on it, making it essentially the same as those bootleggers, but 100,000 times less creative. We got some behind the scenes footage. Here's how he created his original hoodie. I'm just kidding. This dumbass probably can't even use Photoshop. I'm pretty sure he made it on word art. But what's amazing is that I mentioned this in my last video. For example, the hoodie or the Perfecto jacket are designs originally created by Champion and Shot respectively. Why doesn't he mind modifying and appropriating those? Making a hoodie is creative and original, but when it comes to Nike designs, he turns into the professional meat writer for his favorite multinational, and no one can touch it. Come on, explain to us why when you took the most basic blank hoodie, put the most basic star right in the middle, you made something hard to make and original. That's his word. But at the same time, these could be done by any 8-year-old kid? We'd like some enlightenment because even your biggest fans must have trouble keeping up.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
I am not a master designer. I didn't get a degree in design. But the point is, anyone can think of a long object.
First of all, considering how much you talk about homosexuality in sneaker videos that have nothing to do with it, I think we all know what long objects you have in mind all the time, buddy.
Oh, you like dick? Oh, hell no. You.
And to clarify that you're not a master of design or don't have a degree in it, I swear it wasn't necessary to mention it. We all figured that out on our own. Really. And actually, given your level of thinking, I imagine you ain't got a degree at all. Of course, anyone can imagine a bootleg. That's what I've been trying to tell you, but it seems like you're unable to understand something very basic. A child can make a bootleg, but if they have no design skills, it's going to look ugly and unbalanced. A child can also write a book, but they won't write the first 3 volumes of Harry Potter. And guess what? A child can also design a hoodie, but it would probably look like that. This argument of saying other not-so-competent humans can do it too is a statement of the intellectually challenged who can't grasp the subtlety that exists between doing something and doing it well. That's why your brand didn't succeed. You saw it yourself. You made it, but what happened after your drops? Not much, because even creating a hoodie with a successful design isn't as easy, and the design is only the first part of the equation of the success. So imagine modifying a bootleg, which is a more complex object. It's funny how every detail on every bootleg are just obvious, and you could do it too. But when you had to make your own hoodie, you put absolutely 0 detail on it. It's kind of like it's easier for you to get the idea when it has already been done. Until you understand this subtlety, no matter how much you relaunch your brand, aside from people who want to support you, your community with a minimum sense of judgment and aesthetic vision won't follow you on your shaky project because you have no skills in that field. Most of them are just here to get entertained by your trash talk for free, and they'll probably prefer to grab an Astroworld hoodie from PandaBuy than your Heineken merch. You probably don't know that at Nike, there are designers literally paid just to handle colorways and material choices. Like, their role is to choose colors and materials on an already existing Nike design like a dunk. But I guess you think that picking color palettes is as simple as going to paint, and even a child can do it without realizing that it's an actual profession. There are significant nuances. That's why Pantone exists, and artists are granted collaborations with big brands because they can master color schemes. But since you're a numbskull, you probably say, oh, it's just a green and white shoe. I could do it myself. Ask yourself why some people stand out more than others in the bootleg scene. Why do some releases sell out quickly, resell for twice the price, and others totally flop? It's often about marketing and hype, sure, but not just that. Strangely enough, Ari Foreman, before becoming a bootlegger, is primarily an artist. For us, if our bootleg sells out, it's because our French-speaking community knows we can design and create quality products. Of course, we have our bootlegs. By the way, for the tripping community who wants to switch sides, we're working on the Origami Black ink and the Heat SB right now. But we also know how to create our own designs, like this pair for Lacoste, who gets over 50% cop, which is a very huge score for a new silhouette. Similarly, we're working on a slide right now, but to develop and release something that complex, it costs a lot more money. And this is where you completely misunderstood bootlegs.
Take something, do nothing to it, and then make it their own thing. It isn't that unique. It isn't that creative. It really isn't that hard.
The goal of bootlegging isn't to be something new or more authentic than reps. The debate isn't here, and people who watch our videos know we're not specially anti-fake. Bootleg is kinda like custom or bespoke. It's a parallel product in a gray area that, unlike reps, can't scam anyone by pretending to be something else. That's probably why most sneakerheads don't have such an issue with bootleg. It's a creator imposing their vision on a product they want to pay homage to, without having to develop a new silhouette that will never perform as well as a classic one, and will cost 1,000 times more to develop. And once again, we've already explained this in our video. A designer and a creative aren't just Tinker Hatfield. They're also the ones with logo ideas, storytelling, color blocking, themes, or who want to convey a message. Nobody's saying it's something new or it's authentic. It's just a design and product experience proposition very different from what Nike can offer. I can speak for myself. For example, the origami is made in Portugal with premium Italian nubuck. The tongue is Alcantara. Of course, it's not for everyone. Budget especially if you're used to your $10 plastic dunk from PandaBuy, but even Nike wouldn't ever do something that premium, or it would basically be the Air Dior, which costs like 2 rags. The design aspect is important, but the work goes not only into changing the swoosh and adding visual details, it's also the precise choice of Pantones, the shape's accuracy, the selection of materials, or even the management of the project. You know, not selling 4 hoodies and not even being able to ship them in time. It's obviously less complex than creating a pair like the Lacoste TNs that we imagined, but it's still complicated, and it's not within everyone's reach, especially if you want to do it well. Life isn't black or white, where on one side you have the real designers, the only 3 designers existing on the planet in his eyes, and the frauds making bootlegs who have 0 talent, but somehow still become references in the fashion world, like, I don't know, Nigo, here in Preston, Demneg Visalia. It just goes to show that maybe there's a connection, and that a creative person can create iconic pieces regardless of the medium. Whether it's a hoodie or an Air Force One, that's why collab exists. Bootlegs are just unofficial collab that can end up being official later, like Bape, who's now making collab with almost all sneaker brands, or even Imran Potato, who made a collab with Vans.
Of course you're gonna defend Fugazi, but when I show Revenge Storms and their horrible quality and lack of design, and then being sold for this much, and they've been doing this for the last 5 or 7 years, then magically it's one of the worst products imaginable. This is you're cherry picking these bootlegs, not tripping. But isn't that the majority of all bootleg sneakers?
There's no backtracking or cherry picking. Once again, I said it in my video. Bootlegging itself is neither good nor bad. It depends on what people do with it. I'm not saying that all bootlegs are good. Only you and your oxygen-deprived brain cells seem to think I said that. I mean, even if you're the biggest fake fanatic, if I show you this, suddenly you realize it doesn't represent all fakes, and the quality is terrible. I mean, wanting to lump everything into one category is, once again, a dumb way of thinking. Most streetwear brands are often quite cheap, and they come from the same Alibaba as most bootlegs. That's not a reason to make generalizations and amalgamate all the streetwear industry. But where you're really stupid and shot yourself in the foot is by presenting presenting it as Revenge Storm, the brand that has been supposedly making bootlegs for 6 years, when in reality, you found that on RevengeStorm.net, a fake website who has nothing to do with the original brand, which no longer exists, by the way. So basically, you, the big defender of fakes, are showing us a fake bootleg. Like, the site is literally a scam, and when I tell you it's shit, you tell me I'm cherry picking? Make it make sense.
You idiot. You're honestly an idiot.
Clearly, from A to Z, he got everything wrong. If I were his teacher, I would have given him an F, or maybe even an I for idiot. In summary, the guy has a terribly low level of thinking, and I almost feel sorry for him, to be honest. I think the traumas of bullying he experienced as a teenager stunted his brain's growth. He's completely delusional, to the point where he believes that putting stars on a hoodie is original. For now, he hasn't presented a single valid argument. I'd like to see at least one. You can help him in the comments since he seems to be struggling, but I once again prove him wrong.
I pull up with madness, I got ganja in my baggage. I ain't fucking on no hoe, but if I do pass her like Messi, bitch, I'm cool just like that mountain. See this ice on me like glacier. Hit 200, I'm a racer. She on tip just like a waiter. Middle finger to my hater.